Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was born on November 30, 1874, at Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire, England. The grandeur of his birthplace was matched only by the weight of his family name. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a prominent Conservative politician and Chancellor of the Exchequer. His mother, Jenny Jerome, was an American socialite from New York, whose beauty and charm dazzled London society. From the very beginning, young Winston lived in the shadow of towering expectations. Yet, his early years were far from the image of a perfect aristocratic upbringing. His parents were emotionally distant, and Winston was largely raised by his beloved nanny, Elizabeth Everest, whom he called Wom. Churchill was not an outstanding student in the traditional sense. At Harrow School, he struggled academically, especially in subjects like Latin and mathematics, but he excelled in history and English composition. He had a vivid imagination, a love for military stories, and an early fascination with the British Empire's global reach. After several failed attempts, Churchill was finally accepted into the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst and commissioned as a cavalry officer in the 4th Queen's Own Hussars. His military career was more than a duty, it was a passport to adventure. Churchill served in India, where he developed a habit of reading extensively, absorbing works of history, philosophy, and strategy. Later, he saw action in the Sudan during the Battle of Omdurman and famously worked as a war correspondent during the Second Boer War in South Africa. His daring escape from a Boer prison camp turned him into a national hero and propelled him into the public eye. In 1900, Churchill entered Parliament as a Conservative MP. Yet, his political path was never conventional. In 1904, disagreeing with his party's trade policies, he crossed the floor and joined the Liberal Party. An audacious move that shocked his peers. As a Liberal, Churchill held several key cabinet positions, including President of the Board of Trade and Home Secretary. His reforms, such as labor exchanges and unemployment insurance, marked him as a progressive thinker. He also served as First Lord of the Admiralty, overseeing the modernization of the Royal Navy in anticipation of conflict with Germany. The outbreak of World War I brought Churchill's first great political disaster, the Gallipoli Campaign. Intended to break the stalemate on the Western Front, the operation turned into a bloody failure, costing tens of thousands of Allied lives. Churchill, as First Lord of the Admiralty, bore much of the blame and was forced to resign. Instead of retreating completely, Churchill sought redemption on the battlefield. He served as a lieutenant colonel on the Western Front, leading the 6th Battalion of the Royal Scots Fusiliers in the trenches of France. The interwar period saw Churchill increasingly out of step with mainstream politics. Defeated in the 1929 election, he spent much of the next decade warning against the rise of Adolf Hitler and the dangers of Nazi Germany. His speeches, often dismissed as alarmist, would later be recognized as prophetic. During these years, Churchill also wrote prolifically, producing historical works such as A History of the English-Speaking Peoples. His literary skill earned him a reputation not just as a politician, but as one of Britain's greatest writers. When Germany invaded Poland in 1939, Churchill returned to the Admiralty. After the resignation of Neville Chamberlain in May 1940, King George VI appointed Churchill as Prime Minister. Britain stood alone against the might of Nazi Germany. The fall of France left the British Isles vulnerable, but Churchill refused to consider surrender. His speeches electrified the nation and fortified its will to fight. In the House of Commons, he declared, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat." Churchill forged an essential alliance with Franklin D. Roosevelt of the United States and later with Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union. This grand alliance coordinated global strategy and ultimately brought about the defeat of Nazi Germany. He became a symbol of defiance, visiting bombed neighborhoods during the Blitz and traveling to battlefronts. His cigar, bowler hat, and the V for Victory hand gesture became icons of resilience. Despite his wartime leadership, Churchill lost the general election of 1945 to Clement Attlee's Labour Party. Yet, he returned to power in 1951 and served until 1955. In 1946, at Westminster College in Missouri, he delivered his famous Iron Curtain speech, warning of Soviet domination in Eastern Europe, marking the beginning of the Cold War era. Churchill retired from politics in 1955 but remained a revered figure worldwide. In 1953, he won the Nobel Prize in Literature for his historical writings and oratory. He passed away on January 24, 1965, at the age of 90. His state funeral was attended by royalty, presidents, and leaders from across the globe. Today, Churchill is remembered not only as Britain's wartime prime minister but as a master of language, courage, and unyielding spirit. Churchill's life was one of contradictions, an aristocrat who fought for the common man, a leader who made grave mistakes yet rose to inspire a nation. His resilience in the face of near-certain defeat offers timeless lessons about leadership, communication, and courage under fire. Winston Churchill's roar still echoes in history, reminding us that even in our darkest hour, courage can change the fate of nations.